Welcome to Face to Face. This is a show about change and what's next. It's a show that asks questions and peels back the layers of our average everyday experience and goes beyond scratching the surface. We interview people doing incredible things who are making a difference around the globe. Join me as we listen in and get one step closer to understanding that big ideas shared create collaboration. Collaboration can inspire community, and communities create social change. I'm David Peck, and this is Face to Face. My next interview at TIFF, 40th anniversary of TIFF, by the way, and if you haven't been down yet, I really do hope you're going to catch a couple of the films. I think there's, 389 films. It's about a 400-page catalog. It's crazy. It's frenetic pace for most people. A lot of interesting, fun conversations going on, without a doubt, and not all of them appearing up on the screen. The next interview we have, I really was thrilled to get this interview with an Ethiopian filmmaker by the name of Hermon Hailay. Sorry about that, Hermon. And her producer, Max Conil. I'll let them then tell you a little bit more about themselves. But we talked about their movie Price of Love, which they made on a ridiculously low budget. They need to be applauded for that. And this is an interview about this beautiful love story that happens between, two people, a taxi driver and a prostitute, and in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa. And it's a real human story, and I think you're going to find some interesting insights. You're going to enjoy the conversation without a doubt. So join in, check it out, rabble.ca. Don't forget that that's where these podcasts appear, but they also appear on davidpecklive.com. And buckle up for, I think, interview number 6 or 7 from TIFF this year, and we've got a few more to go. So welcome to Face to Face. We're joined by a couple of special guests who I'm pretty sure I'm going to pronounce their names improperly, but I'm going to do my best. Hermon?
Yes.
Hailay?
Yeah.
Pretty close?
Yeah.
And, Max is pretty easy. Conil, yes?
Yeah,
Good. Well, thank you for joining us today. So the price of love?
Yes.
Price of Love.
Price of Love. Your producer, Max?
Yes.
Co-writer?
Yep.
Director, producer, writer, I would guess.
Yes.
Really.
He's the producer.
Yeah,
I just direct and co-writer.
Yeah. So Price of Love, obviously, I want. And by the way, the premiere is on the 13th, Scotiabank Theatre, at celebrating the 40th anniversary here at TIFF. And welcome to Canada too.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome. So thank you for joining us. So I'm divorced. I've been through a few relationships along the way. I've studied philosophy. I have a master's degree in philosophy, and tend to think about things a lot. And so I see the title Price of Love, and immediately it captures my eye. I don't know what the film's about. Somebody's asking a good question, it seems to me. Do you think that you have a better understanding of what love is coming out of this film, this production?
That's a good question. What love is, I think it's a strong question, but it's about a human being. Like it can be like a family, or just a relationship, or sexual thing. But like what we are trying to tell in this movie, it's about like human love, but when they are paid by somebody, like in a prostitution condition, what kind of love you can have, what's the difficulties also, what's the price also, the money, or which one is the real love when you being prostitute?
Yeah, whenever there's a price, there's got to be a cost of some kind involved, and it's not just. I think one of the things with my own work, I work in international development, and we think of poverty a lot of times as an economic thing. And you coming from Ethiopia would understand this better than most, it seems to me. But poverty is so much more than that. Same with love, right? I mean, it's. Max is. How about you? Are you going to be a better lover as a result of having made this film? You can make a joke first if you want. And then I'm hoping you're going to go deeper, though.
Well, firstly, Hermon is also my wife.
Whoa, didn't know that. Okay, big surprise. Yeah, you could hear the gasp in the room, I think.
So that's the joke, which is true.
Yes.
And the depth, I suppose, really it's about seeing relationships and people for people. Now, whether they're a prostitute, a poor taxi driver living on the street, or in Africa, or any job in any country in the world, they're just people. Mm-hmm. And they have love. And that's what we tried to show in this film.
Well, I think for me, one of the things, having traveled a fair bit, never been to Ethiopia. I've been to Ouagadougou, by the way, and I noticed that you won a film award there. So yeah, I spent a few days in Burkina Faso doing some work a few years ago. But I think one of the things that I continue to see, and I think that really comes through in this film, is the, and I don't want to underplay this, but the average and ordinariness of being human. It's extraordinary on so many levels, and yet we're kind of, like you said, I think I read in an interview, you said something about geography, where 90% of us are all the same, but the 10% difference is where we come from.
Yes. Yeah, that's why prostitution can happen anywhere, I think. But when you just added like culture and religion, I think that's the difference makes it. So in Ethiopia, being a prostitute is not easy as a religious country and a very, cultural place. So the first thing you gotta get the challenge from your family, your society. So they have to run away from their society, just to be prostitute wherever, how far they're gonna go. But they have to leave. The first thing they're gonna leave from their village, and being prostitute in another city, or if they want to make it better, also they have to just live somewhere else that they can get money. Maybe it can be, for us it's close to the Middle East. They go there also. But in this situation, they have the real heart to give for somebody, the special one. So that was my inspiration also.
Do you think, Hermon, that prostitution is as a result of a breakdown culturally? People call it the oldest profession. Is it about poverty? Is it really about, somebody once described poverty as a lack of opportunity? And I think that comes out in this film. I have no choice. And yet Teddy says, no, of course you do. There's always another way, right? I think he says that 2 or 3 times in the film, right? There's always another way. And I love that, right? Yes. But it seems to me that women that are, well, anyway, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, in our country, it becomes worse and worse, prostitution, because now the economy becomes like better. The country gets attention, a lot of investors coming from everywhere, and African Union is in Addis Ababa. So the women, they think they are beautiful. So because of they have a financial problem, when they get a lot of money, it's tempting for them. So that's why it becomes like a little bit from the last. Now it's a little bit, like not a little bit, but nowadays I think we are also recognize that as a government, as a society, it's a big issue. Right time.
One of the lines too, that they're having a conversation, and is it Fere? Is that how you pronounce? Fere. Yeah. Fere is pronounced. Fere and Teddy's relationship as it develops.
Fruit.
Yeah, and one of them says something about this city's broken. And then everything's broken, right? Yeah. So, and again, that leveling, right? That humanity coming out in a film that is trying to cross cultural bounds as well. So I'm wondering, did some of that, I didn't realize that you guys were married, and my apologies on that, but did some of the, I love the relationship that develops between the 2 characters in this film. It really is, it's kind of innocent, it's very beautiful. It's lovely, actually, the way it kind of, there's a bit of anger, there's this passion, and so on. Is that kind of what's happening between the 2 of you? Is that coming? Is that coming through in the film? Are we seeing some of that?
Not at all. No. Firstly, like for me, being British and living in Ethiopia, what struck me, one morning we were having breakfast in a cafe, and these two girls came in that Hermon knew, and as you do in Ethiopia, you say hello to everyone you know, and you shake everyone's hand around the table, and it's a really social place, and it's really beautiful. And so we met these two girls very briefly, just to kind of say hello. And after they left, I said, "Oh, who are they? You know, what do they do?" We live in an area where there's a few filmmakers and a few creative people. And she said, "They're prostitutes." And it really struck me, the kind of ordinariness of just and how kind of casual it was. And it really struck a note with me, and it lingered for a long time, that these are just girls like anyone else. And so for us, that was a key thing, to show that ordinariness. And in terms of the tension between the characters, that's just showing a normal relationship. You know, of course, we ourselves have some tension and conflict, and we did during the production itself, as any relationships do. So I think that's where that comes from.
Yeah. To add on this, like it's, I think that's the big motivation for this story also, because I used to live around them, and they are my friends. They love me. I love them, because our relationship is not in their work. It's like as a woman, they are a woman also, and they came, they talk to me, you know, just they need that. I think that's why what I noticed, they need to be seen as a woman, as a human being.
I think one of the things that really struck me was a moment when she's trying to explain to Teddy why there's an attraction, or there's attraction is the wrong word, but a pull towards the work. Yes, of course, it's about economics and it's finances, but she says, but for one split second, I feel expensive and important. That moment makes me feel alive. And who hasn't felt that way? And isn't that what really all of this is about? I mean, we all want to be accepted, right?
Yeah.
We all want to be loved. We all want to be embraced. We all want to be included, I think. So for me, that was almost like, that's the film. This is what this is really all about.
That's true. That's true, because they told me the same thing. They have fun on this life, but it's short moments. You know, always every night before, when they just being ready for work, like being clean, like having the makeup, and the first guest coming in the house or in the bar. And the second one, just when he pull her, you know, when he just need competition to get that one. But it's for money, it's like work, but it doesn't come like at the beginning. So they enjoy that moment. And the next day they talk about it. They came and they talk. Last night he came, this guy, and you know, there's like also, but is that the right enjoyment? Is that the right attention? Is that the right thing?
Well, and I think it aligns nicely with the whole notion of everything being broken, you know, without being too judgmental. I mean, I've got my own brokenness, you know, I'm looking to fill that up. You know, Pascal called it the God-shaped hole, right? What do you pour into it? What do you pour into it to feel better, to get through the day? And these women in this situation, it seems, have, I guess, I don't know, is it upbringing? Is it there's something that they're lacking, right?
Yeah.
They're not being included in a way, and this is bringing, and I think that to me is just it's a challenge to all the rest of us, right? I think.
Yeah.
Is that something that drove you, would you say, Max?
I think also it's easy. You know? Humans look for the easiest way in life. And prostitution in Ethiopia is quite easy to do. It's not kind of the sort of stereotype you see in movies. That's another motivation for making this film. It's a relatively normal life. apart from a few moments in the day. So I think that's a big motivation for people.
Is that a good thing? Like, I don't hear any judgment in your voice at all, which is fine. I'm wondering, it's relatively normal. Is that a comment about Ethiopian society, or is that a comment about all of us, would you say?
About all of us, absolutely. This is not an Ethiopian story. This is a universal story.
Yeah, yeah. Even if we say like specifically in Ethiopia, it's a little bit difficult but the difficulty is not it's not hard job being prostitute. It's the way you want to do it, and the society what influence is the big guilty, like the
Sure.
Just
It's a factor.
religion
It's a huge
is
factor.
yeah.
And also it's about what's acceptable in society. I read a report not so long ago about prostitution in London, and I don't remember the specific stats, but it was enormous and shocking, the level of prostitution in London, because it's hidden.
Yeah.
We don't see it because, we're British and we don't accept that. So you have to go underground. In Ethiopia, it's not underground. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about prostitution in London until many years ago, and I used a phone booth, and that's when I found out all about prostitution in London. So, is this about gender disparity, Hermon? Is this about men treating women poorly?
No, it's not. Because, of course, there is a market between women and men. It's clearly, but it's not. It's not. It's about a human story. Like Teddy's mother the motivation is even having as a mother, like in a prostitution life, a boy, how he's gonna see his mother's sexual, everything is clearly. It's very, painful. So it's not.
We're wondering right now, folks, if there's a couple guys coming into this room, if they're going to give us 5 more minutes before they start setting up chairs. But I think the theme for me too about this idea about choice, and there's always being another way. Do you guys really believe that? Do you as an existentialist, it is freedom, choice, and responsibility, right? It's about the decisions we make, right?
Absolutely, and I think we've shown that in this production as well. Humans can choose to do whatever they want in any situation in life, in any country. Hermon grew up without a family and in Ethiopia where there's no film schools, and together we made this film with our own money. Just $10,000 it took to make this film.
It's remarkable, man.
And other movies spend millions and millions of dollars but they miss something. They miss that interaction, the beauty of human relationships, and that doesn't take budget. That takes observation and writing and dealing with that emotion. So I think there's always another way. We've shown with this film.
Even like when you are grown up in a difficult situation, maybe who's gonna he can see me as a filmmaker when I was kid, nobody, like the way I grown up and the way I just was there. But when I choose this job, I choose it for a purpose, because I want to say something, because of just I see a lot of things that I can say for people. Gradually, I get this filmmaking, So maybe if the first thing is writing book and they just singing or oh, there is a movie, I can be this one. So I just pick it. I didn't pick it to be a filmmaker only. I didn't pick it like to be famous or something, because I just want to say I want to participate with world. you know. So it's choice. But I can be like I don't know, something that usual thing.
Do you consider yourself a filmmaker or a storyteller, or would you say they're sort of the same thing?
I'm closer for storyteller because that's what I am coming from reading book. You know, I grown up in a small house in like the only child in the house, so I wasn't playing a lot. So I just got some book and then I read, and that's my inspiration. So I want to tell something.
I think maybe I can ask this to you, Max. There's a scene at the end of the film when she's hit by the car, a taxi, which is just, it's a horrifying moment, right? Because we're not quite sure where it's going to end. And I typically, my wife will tell you, Elizabeth will tell you, I tend towards the melancholic and dark films. But I didn't want this one to end this way. This is not where, and I'm not going to tell the listenership how the film ends. But it seemed to me like there was a very conscious decision to make a shot, the shot of all the men standing around essentially doing nothing. That's what I took from it. And I actually felt like, wow, I sure hope that's not how I would react or how I would respond. And I don't mean it in a judgment or condemnation, but was that an intentional choice? And for your perspective, is this kind of, we got to smarten up a little bit here, guys. Us, that is, you and me, and who we represent.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's the sort of car crash syndrome. Everyone likes to slow down and watch. Does anyone do anything? And that tends to be men. And we do need to change. In Ethiopia, the women are the strong ones, and they're the workers. We see that in the end. And I think men can learn a lot from just looking at women and their mothers and their sisters and their wives.
I remember being in Burkina Faso, in Ouagadougou, and as you know, in the city center, the old trees that have died have been carved into statues of sorts. And I remember driving by, I was with three men, and it was a statue, or a carving, I should say, this beautiful, glorious carving of a woman. And I'm sure I've talked about it on my podcast before. And it's a woman who's got a child on her back, pretty sure she's got a plate of fruit, something in her left arm, and she's carrying an axe. And I make the joke, I say, wow, isn't there anything else we could get her to do? And I've just got this, and I think I see that in my travels quite often. So it's interesting for you to say the same.
Yeah, I think it's quite normal seeing this kind of mothers in Africa. It's the same in Ethiopia because she's the one responsibility raising a child, take care of the husband, what he's gonna eat, lunch, dinner, because she had to give him the best thing, and sometimes she had to work, especially in a lower economy. It's kind of hard. They work from early 6 in the morning to maybe 18 hours or something. So it's being a woman. It's not easy. It's tough, seriously.
Nothing I can't say I can stand in your shoes, but I think from my travels I certainly can say the same thing. And I feel like we've got such a long way to go. Mm-hmm. And I see even my son is 10, my daughter is 7, and how they're growing up and being, like you talked about earlier, this cultural sensibilities and being socialized to the way things are in our house, in where we live, in our country, and so on. And how do we change that and not just become lazy? Like you said, the humans tend towards what's easiest, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's a lot of discussion at the moment in the West about empowering women in the workplace and, leading women and whatever, and the percentage of business leaders and film directors even that are women is very, very low. I think Africa can lead the way in empowering women, because they're already the workers. If you drive along or you see the people building the roads, they're women. Mm-hmm. It's really surprising. The foreman is a man, but the workers, laying the bricks down on the road, are women. So they do everything. apart from the top positions in government or business. So I think we can see Africa leading that way.
When I was also in Burkina Faso, we met with two ministers, a Minister of Justice and a Minister of Education, both women, both strong leaders, clearly had it all going on and had a team of people working around them, a lot of respect and so on. And I remember commenting on that to others as well. How can you not? I mean, it's not normally seen anywhere, really. I mean, it's changing all the time, I suppose. But what I love about the film is, for me, I think the most is the love story, without a doubt. But there's so many other layers, as there are to any great story, I suppose. What do you think? It's been released in Ethiopia.
Yes.
Has it? Yes. Will it get a wider release through Africa? Will it? You've made the film yourselves, your own money. I understand from an article I read, very hard distribution-wise in country.
Yeah.
What are you guys trying to do about that to get this picture out there?
I think you can answer.
Yes,
Max,
the producer.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're at TIFF here in Toronto. That can really help us. We're very, very thankful to the festival for selecting the film, because it raises the profile, and we hope to find some wider distribution, whether it be in cinemas, online, DVD, TV. But we very much hope to get the film to a wide audience.
Do you guys have, as a couple, do you have any plans for what's next? Are you already starting to think through the story, or starting to write the story?
Yeah, we are developing a new story. It needs to be we need it to be bigger, and looking forward for partners.
Thank you both for joining us today. Max Conil, producer and co-writer of Price of Love, and Hermon Hailay. Hailay, there you go. Premiering, North American premiere, Sunday the 13th at TIFF. Thank you both again for joining us today on Face to Face.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.